Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to review I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. In terms of this series is really actually kind of weird because the first movie I saw in the series, I saw it as a kid, and it was the second one. I saw the second one first, and I actually liked it as a kid. I don't know why I rented the second one first. I rented it back when Netflix was still sending you the DVDs to rent, and you would get like 3 at a time or whatever. And I got this one and Pirates of the Caribbean 3. And I took them on a vacation to Missouri. And I remember vividly watching it because the food that I ate while watching it, let's just say it'll come up later. But I actually liked the second movie as a kid, but I don't remember it at all. So I will have to go back and rewatch it in the near future. I might watch the second and third one for October this year, maybe, if we have time. But yeah. So then years later, I finally saw the original first movie in, I think, 2023? I can't remember. But I saw it either last year or the year before, and Safi and I loved it. We thought it was actually really good. It was surprisingly good because a lot of people, when they talk about this movie, they compare it to Scream. And Scream is the OG, 90s horror movie, and it's so much better in like every way, shape, or form. But this movie's still really good too. But just when people talk about both, they really disparage this movie because, rightfully so. You're talking about Scream, and Scream was just something else. That movie is one of the best horror movies of all time. And the original one of this series is still, it's actually a pretty good movie. And I would definitely watch it again. And I really enjoyed it. But what about this new one? Well, to start off, the first thing I should say is I did see the trailer for this movie in theaters. I had no idea that it was for this series or this movie. I just saw this is a new horror movie trailer, and I actually I don't even know if I want to admit this because I don't want to come off as rude, but this trailer was so bad that I started to laugh at it in the theaters. I was laughing at this movie's trailer because it was so stupid and it was so bad looking. And then I saw Freddie Prinze Jr. and I saw what they were trying to do. And then I saw the title and I was like, oh my God. Just another one of these bad, legacy sequels where, they come back, they rip off the first movie, because they know that, the audience, they're going to be like, oh my God, I'm so nostalgic for the original movie. And, we won't pretend like the other movies happen. We'll just focus on the first movie because the first movie is always the best. And that's the weird thing about these legacy sequels is that, they have kind of this pretentious mindset that like the first movie reigns supreme, but they're having that attitude while making a sequel, a fourth movie in the series. How can you have that attitude when this is a sequel itself? It's like just admitting that this movie is bad because it's like you're so focused on the original and you're not focused on making something of your own and making something interesting and new. But, I'm sick and tired of these legacy sequels or requels. sick and tired of them. They do the same old shit every single time. And this, honestly, it might be the worst one. This movie might be worse than Exorcist Believer. Or actually, no, I can't say that. I wouldn't dare say that. But it is pretty close. In fact, I would actually like to do a ranking where I rank all of the Legacy sequels that I've seen. I haven't seen all of them because, you know, sometimes, like, when these movies come out, I feel bad that I haven't seen the other ones in the series. You know, like a Candyman, I actually did watch the original series just so I could watch the new one, and then I still didn't even bother watching the new one because I just didn't want to, because I saw that, you know, it might be bad too. But anyways, this movie, it is really, really bad. The person who made this movie, I don't know how she got this movie. I really don't know how. It seems like people in Hollywood, they legitimately fail upwards, because the person who made this movie, she took part in writing Thor: Love and Thunder. And now, look, everyone deserves a second chance. But when you prove that you can't handle a big franchise like Thor, and again, I don't know how much of Thor she wrote, but all of the problems that Thor 4 had were apparent in this movie too. This movie, I am going to summarize my problems with it very quickly so I can give it a food review and then get on to spoilers, because I want to talk spoilers so bad. I took a bunch of notes, and you know, I had to copy and paste them to my phone, and because I had to take the notebook to the theater, and so first off, this movie is extremely, extremely woke, and I don't use that word often. So when you hear me say it, you know that something's bad. You know that something is full of agendas, and something that is just stuffed full with modern bullshit. Modern agendas, modern characters, modern storytelling. You know, all of the female characters are framed as really nice and sympathetic, and basically all the male characters are treated like they're pieces of crap. You know, almost all of them, if not like 98% of them. Even certain characters that you think wouldn't be, you know, looked at as bad people, they purposefully turn them into bad people. Like the main characters, you know, like the main male characters in the movie, like they're just framed as these horrible people, and the female characters, they're all framed as innocent little victims. You know, they're just like, oh no, they never did anything wrong, and they're just, you know, nice people. You know, it's really, really bad. The dialogue is terrible. There's so many times throughout the movie where it's like you don't know if they want you to laugh because it's so unintentionally funny, or it's like, oh, they were trying to do some lame attempts at humor here and there. Because this movie, it was so comedic. It was like straight up out of The Simpsons. Remember how The Simpsons did that, the parody of the original movie? That's all that I could think about while watching this. All that I could think about was that that Simpsons episode predicted this movie. And then just the movie is very boring and generic. The movie itself, it's very ugly. It's ugly looking, and it's not very colorful. The kills aren't great either. There's no real suspense or tension or anything, and you don't really ever feel any danger throughout the movie, because you know, I mean, this is what I predicted, because this happens in every single Legacy sequel. There has to be not one final girl, but 3 final girls. And that's not a spoiler, because that was my prediction. I'm not saying that happens or not. I'm saying that was my prediction because that is what they have done in every other modern horror movie. You have Scream, you had Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera, Neve Campbell, and Courtney Cox. So that's four. That's four final girls because, you got to have all these strong female characters and none of them can die. They all got to survive. They all got to live to the next movie. And then Halloween, they had the final girl trio. They had Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, and the grandson, Andy Matichak. Or what was her name? Like Allison in the movie. But yeah, that's what they're doing nowadays. That you can't just have one final girl, you have to have three final girls. And so I predicted that at the beginning of this movie. I was like, oh, that's totally what they're going to do. They're not going to even let, just one or two girls survive. They're going to have three of them survive, and all the male characters die, as per usual, as per very predictable. And the movie is very predictable, very cliche. There's nothing here that's really new or interesting that feels like, wow, I'm really glad that they made this reboot, sequel, remake, movie, whatever the fuck it is. There's nothing there that made me think wow, I'm so glad they brought this franchise back. I'm so glad. You know why they did this? They did this, and this is all the studios think about nowadays. They don't think about story, they don't think about characters, they don't think about art. They look at all their movies, and they say, look at all these brands. What are we doing with the I Know What You Did Last Summer brand? Oh, nothing? Oh yeah, they made that TV show that was woke too, and it failed after one season. Cancel that shit. Oh no, we gotta make a new movie so that we can make money off of the brand. The I Know What You Did Last Summer brand. And so that's the only reason why this piece of fuck was made, was because we gotta make money off of the brand. And so that's the only reason. This movie isn't special. It's not some kind of really interesting, oh wow, it's so interesting how they brought back these characters. Nothing in this movie is interesting. The only thing that's interesting about this movie is the poster, for reasons that I'm not going to get into right now. And so, anyways, in terms of food, I'm going to circle on back to the gross hotel food. See, what happened was when I was watching the second movie as a kid, I was watching it in my hotel room in the morning. It was in the early morning, and we had to do this thing when we went to hotels, where we kept all the lights off because somebody else was sleeping all day long, and so we got breakfast from the hotel, and the hotel kitchen closed early for some reason, so we had to get breakfast and take it to our room. And we had to eat it in the dark, and it was cold. It was awful, awful breakfast. It was some cold scrambled eggs, cold sausage, cold fruit, which that part is fine. And then I think maybe pancakes? I can't remember completely, but I do remember the disgusting taste of the eggs, the sausage. I remember it so much, I could taste it right now. I have such a strong memory, I could just taste it. I could taste that shit, and I don't want to taste it ever again. But that's what this movie is. It's let's just bring, instead of honoring the original, this movie just feels like they're honoring other shitty modern horror movies and bringing back all of the shitty modern horror movie tropes that you don't like to this movie franchise now too. So that's what I would rate this movie in terms of food. I would rate it that shitty hotel breakfast that I conveniently had while watching the second movie, which actually I kind of liked. I thought it was actually pretty good. I think it's because a YouTuber had said the second one was better. which I don't know if a lot of people think that, but he said the second one was better, so I thought, oh, well, I'll just watch the second one. It's very idiotic of me, I know. And also, I watched Pirates of the Caribbean 3. I don't like that one either, actually. Like, I bet I would like it nowadays, because the movies that come out nowadays are so bad that, as I've told a friend of mine tonight while I was talking to him about movies, I told him, even the bad movies from the 2000s are better than the good movies from nowadays. Like, I will take Pirates of the Caribbean 3 over Superman, over Thunderbolts, over all of these good movies from this year. This year, 2025, has been one of the worst years for movies I've ever seen. Terrible year for movies. Awful. At least they released 28 years later, so that now when people say that I'm not making a real movie with a real camera because I'm shooting my movie with my iPhone, I can just point to 28 years later and say, go fuck yourself, you fucking retard. But in terms of like movies in general, this year has just been a complete disaster. And it just is apparent that studios don't care. They don't care about movies. They just care about making money. And, this movie, I don't even know if it did well. It made like $24.6 million. And I don't even know why I know that, because it's like, who cares? But like, I really hope that they don't do a sequel to this trash. Because, I mean, really, it was just terrible. And now, we are going to get into some spoilers. Okay? And I got really quiet there, because I'm going to tell you guys a story. It's a spoiler-filled story. And also, okay, well, no, that's one thing that we'll talk about. Okay, so there's so many things. I wrote down like a whole like page of notes. Because this movie was just so bad. And the dialogue was so bad that I had to just keep on writing like every line of the movie down on the note page. Okay. So, I already did that one. Check. So let's just, the inciting incident of this movie, they basically just rip off the original movie with like the opening and the car crashing thing. They have this weird thing where the rich guy, the Ryan Felipe character in the group, he's trying to like play chicken with cars on the road, like himself, like not even inside a car. But they do all these fake outs, to the point of where this sequence is so over the top and fake. There's no emotions. The acting in this movie is terrible. It is straight out of The Simpsons. That's all I could think about. Then, let's see. So the main cast, let's talk about this main cast, because this is one of the worst casts I've ever seen. They're so unlikable. You got 3 or 4 women, or I think it's just 3. They all kind of look the same. They all act the same. So, that none of them have really like a big range of emotions. They all just, make the same faces the entire movie. Not really great actors here. And then there's only one who's kind of different, because she's a lesbian, and that's like the only thing about her character. And she's like the final girl of the movie, and her whole character is that she's lesbian. Like, there's no other traits about her character. And that's the thing about this movie too. Why it makes it woke is because in woke movies and woke characters, they're all centered around their identity. You guys know being straight isn't a character trait. You can't say like, oh, well, that guy's a character because he sleeps with women. It's like, that just doesn't make sense, because it's like, okay, who cares? Like, that doesn't have anything to do with them personally. And so this girl, right off the bat, like, they have this bizarre, like, scene in, like, an airport bathroom where she's, like, getting finger banged by this other bitch in the movie who's just a completely unlikable character. She's, like, a true crime podcaster who's, like, a really weird character, like a big stereotype, basically. A big caricature, makes all true crime podcasters look bad. Just terrible, terrible character. And that's how they introduce the character to the final girl, her getting finger banged by another girl in an airport bathroom. And, just right off the bat, it's like, okay, I don't like these characters at all. Because, like, that's all that there is to their characters. It's like, oh, that girl's a lesbian, and then this girl's getting married to a guy, and then that guy's rich. Like, there's nothing to their characters. There's no actual character. It's just, oh, look, that's their identity, and that's all there is to their character. And it's like, yeah, that's not a real character. Like, they even got a guy who looks like a bargain bin Freddie Prinze Jr., and then they even got another guy who they make him look like a bargain bin Ryan Felipe. And then the first victim, this is the sequence they showed in the trailer, the iconic sequence where the guy gets hooked at the end, off screen, obviously, because even though this is rated R, it very much feels like a PG-13 movie. This guy is so stupid. He's literally waiting for the killer to come inside and kill him. Okay? I'm not kidding here. I am being 100% fucking serious. The first victim of this movie stands around waiting to be killed. And when the killer comes in, he doesn't come on the guy. Or she or he. I can't remember which one it was in that scene. Because there are two killers in this movie. And of course, one of them, she kind of looks like Mikey Madison. And you know how Mikey Madison was the killer in Scream 5? So they kind of redid that. They kind of just trudged over that or whatever. They just, let's get someone who looks like Mikey Madison and then have her be the scary secret killer, and then we won't even talk about the other killer yet, because he, oh God. I mean, just horrible, horrible decisions they made. But when the killer gets inside, the first victim, instead of being a character and taking it seriously, this guy says, "You can have my crypto fortune," or something like that. He's like, "You can have my cryptocurrency fortune if you let me live." Like, fuck you. Okay? Like, that's the thing about this movie. It feels very much like a Marvel movie where they gotta undercut every single thing with a joke, with some sort of a stupid joke. And then, guess what happens right after this, guys? You're gonna love this. This is another horrible, horrible line in the movie. The final girl, the token lesbian girl, instead of, acting like a human person and saying like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry that your fiance got killed. This is so horrible." Instead of saying like normal people things, guess what this bitch says to this woman who just, saw her fiance's dead body. Or her husband. I can't remember because this movie was so bad. She says, "Oh, you're a widow now." You're a hot widow. You're a hot widow. That's the first thing that you're going to say to your friend after she just saw her fiance get fucking killed. Fuck this fucking movie up the ass. Horrible dialogue. I mean, how the fuck am I supposed to like a character like that? How? Okay, so. Okay, now, this part is actually, this is probably one of the funniest things in the entire movie. The main characters, see, this movie is also kind of rushed. Even though it is like 2 hours, it is kind of rushed because, like, the rich guy, well, they kind of fake it out like, oh, he doesn't want to be a part of this, like in the original movie. Like, oh, he doesn't want to have anything to do with it. He just wants to pretend like it's not happening. The killings aren't happening. And then, boom, the next scene, the rich guy is with all the others, and they're having a little tea party, and they're discussing the recent killings that are going on. And guess what they decide to do, guys? And just think about this. You meet up with a group of friends, and you know that you guys are getting killed off. It is serious business. What is the first thing that you do in a modern horror movie? You set up a chips and salsa station. Yes, that's right. These fucking woke characters, the first thing that they decide to do when they meet up to talk about how they're all gonna get killed is they set up a chips and salsa station. They don't have one bag of chips. They have 2 bags of chips. They have a bag of fucking Tostitos scoops and shit. And they got 2 bowls of salsa. They got 1 bowl of salsa. They got 1 bowl of guacamole. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here? Are we having a fucking party? Or are we talking about how we're fucking getting killed? This is modern horror movies. Is this what you guys like? Is this what you guys want to support in the theaters? Is this what you want to see more of? Like, hey, like, this is a serious situation, a serious movie. But, wouldn't it be funny if we had Tostitos scoops while we were talking about how we're getting killed off? Okay, then, the token lesbian final girl, she meets with Jennifer Love Hewitt, which, by the way, Jennifer Love Hewitt has gotten so hot that she somehow is the hottest actress in this movie. She out-hots every other female character in this movie. It might just be because the other female characters are so unlikable and awful that I just, that's a part of being attractive, is you being a bad person or a good person. And so, but Jennifer Love Hewitt, she looks like perfection. Boom. Put that on a t-shirt, because I'm saying it right here. But what was really, really bad? She talks with the final girl, and she says, I just need to know one thing. What did you do last summer? Just the dialogue of this movie is so dumb. You know what I will say? This movie would make a fantastic drunk commentary. Okay, it would be a top tier drunk comedy. And then also, I should say, I don't remember this from the original movies, because as I said, I haven't seen the second one in a long time. But this is a typical thing that they do in modern day agenda movies, is that they have these 2 characters who were happily married, and it was like, oh yay, like they got to be together, and they have them get divorced. So Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, they are divorced in this movie, and of course he's a loser, and she's kind of successful. She's a professor, and she teaches about trauma and shit, and all that bullshit that you've seen before. And, of course, did the same thing in Star Wars The Force Awakens. You can't have Han Solo and Princess Leia to be together. And, we can't have male and female characters be together, because it's got to be modern. It's got to be a dark take, and they've got to be separated because, it shows that they're unhappy and that, and it's just like, again, fuck this movie. Okay, now Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, she has another cringe line. This line, again, who the fuck writes this kind of dialogue? Okay? She says, the Southport Police Department is number one in gaslighting. Who talks like that? Why would Jennifer... I could understand these stupid, idiot, Gen Z fucknut characters saying, oh, I don't like the Southport PD because they like to gaslight. They're the number one gaslighters. Gaslight, 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 gaslight. Shove your fucking gaslight up your fucking ass. But I'm so sick of that fucking word. I'm sorry. I am so sick of the word gaslight. Because you know who uses the word gaslight most? The people who gaslight you. Yes, that's right. But anyways, why would a character Jennifer Love Hewitt's age, she's in her 40s or 50s or whatever, it doesn't matter because she's still a 10 out of 10. And why would she use the word gaslighting? Why would she talk just like the Gen Z characters? That is bad writing. And you know what? You got a bad writer to write the movie. This female writer-director, she doesn't know what she's doing. I can't remember her name. I'm not just trying to insult her because of her gender, but I can't remember her name. But you got a bad writer here, but why didn't you edit her fucking script? Why didn't you send her a note and say, hey, why is Jennifer Love Hewitt talking like the Gen Z characters? Because you suck. That's why. This review, it is a wake-up call for you. Get it together. Stop letting these types of movies get made because they are really, really bad. And then there's another really bad moment in this movie. There's lots of moments in this movie where they literally just pause the movie so that you can, because you can tell this is going to be a trailer moment. Like the first kill, the fisherman guy, he holds up his hook and he literally just stands there frozen because you can tell that they're going to use this moment for the trailer because it'll look cool. And then there's another moment. It's probably one of the most cringeworthy moments I've ever seen. It's basically like the female superhero scene in Avengers Endgame, where all the female superheroes get together and they pose next to each other, and, it's like, oh, look, the female power. And well, they do that in this movie. They have all of the Gen Z characters that you don't care about at all. And they all stand together, and it's the shot that I actually used for the picture of this video. But that picture, they literally pause the movie so these characters can pose for the camera. This is filmmaking. This is modern filmmaking. They do not know how to make movies anymore. Okay? And I will say, too, what's really weird about this movie is that, like, there's so much comedy in it, and either it's unintentional or it's intentional, and you'd think, like, okay, I would expect this if this was a Scream sequel. But this, the original movie was not really very funny at all. It was not really a comedic movie. Like, I don't remember laughing at all. So it's really strange that they decided to, make this like almost like a comedy satire movie. It was like straight out of The Simpsons, as I've said for the third time. And then there is a part in the movie, the token lesbian final girl, At this point, I don't know what they were doing. They were basically just setting up these convenient plot scenarios so that they could get the plot going, get people killed. Well, the Freddie Prinze Jr. bargain bin version, he is alone with the token lesbian final girl, and all of a sudden she just turns straight and she starts having sex with him. And this is the part where it not only gets bad, but it just destroys the movie, destroys the character, and this girl, she's saying, punish me for what we did. She's role-playing. This is the main character. This is the main character that we're supposed to like as the audience. This isn't like, oh, the fun, slutty side character who, she's a whore anyway, she's gonna die anyway. This is the main final girl character. And what she's doing is making light of the tragedy, making light of this innocent guy that they killed on accident, or they killed him, whatever. They killed him. They edged him off the cliff. But she's like role playing and talking about what they did, the horrible thing that they did. Punish me for what we did. What we did was so bad. Punish me for it. Like, why would you want the main final girl of the movie to be so tone deaf? She's disrespecting this guy that they killed, the guy that the whole movie revolves around, this horrible tragedy. Why would you want her to be making light of that situation? And so you know what Freddie Prinze Jr. does? He gets up and he leaves. Because he's like, this is wrong. This is nasty. This is gross. Let's do it. But why are we making light of this horrible thing that we took part in and covered up and didn't take any accountability for? Why are we choosing to, act like that? So then there's a part in the movie, I can't remember even which character it was or whatever. I think it was the rich guy. I can't remember at all. Or maybe it was Freddie Prinze Jr. I don't know. I don't even know. Because I told you guys, all the female characters in this movie looked the same. I could not tell them apart until the last 20 minutes. Because they were so generic and bland. And they all had the same faces. They all made the same emotions. None of them were really individual characters. And until the end, that's when I was able to be like, oh, okay, that's the bigger. She's kind of bigger. The blonde one, and then you have the token lesbian, and then you have the Mikey Madison lookalike. But there's a part in the movie. This is supposed to be a serious scene. This girl is almost going to get killed, and then all of a sudden, the guy, he straight up, runs into the killer like he's a bull that's charging it like a guy with a red, sheet. And he just charges at him head first, and he says, "I'll fuck you up!" And he just completely comes out of nowhere. It's just the most hilarious thing that I've ever seen. And it's like, oh my God. It's so out of nowhere. And it's just so bad. And then, there's a part, okay, then the female characters, they go to the police department to talk with the evil white male police and tell them that we know who did it. We know what's going on. And so then the police officer, he calls this other guy who is the town rich guy, and he says, yeah, I have the female characters here. They're being hysterical. And if you guys don't know, that's agenda type of dialogue. Whenever a male character says that a woman is being hysterical, it's always, basically just a callback to oh yeah, remember how the word hysterical was created? Because, blah, 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 because of sexism, blah, blah, blah. And so that was another stupid agenda line. And then the big insult of this movie, it's bad enough they killed Han Solo. It's bad enough they killed Luke Skywalker. It's bad enough they killed Star Wars. But now they have killed Freddie Prinze Jr. Well, at least they haven't killed his Fred. They have not killed Fred in Scooby-Doo. He doesn't ever want to come back as Fred, but at least that character is canonically still alive. But they do the most insulting thing. They turn his character evil for no good reason. It's just a stupid twist. His daughter, she is the first killer. She's the Mikey Madison ripoff character. And then he is the second surprise villain. So they took an iconic, good male character from the original movie, and they don't just choose to kill him off in a stupid, easy, contrived, dumbass way. They choose to turn him into an evil guy, too. So as we've seen before in all these modern movies, they take a beloved male character and they just completely tarnish his legacy, make him look like trash, and then kill him off. All so that they can uplift the female characters. And so, of course, there is not one, there is not two, but there are 3 final girls in this movie. One of them, actually, it's really bizarre because she was supposed to be dead. The blonde one. She's the blonde one. She's the blonde bombshell, I guess you'd call her. But at the very end, for some reason, she literally washes up on the beach. And she just wakes up and she's like, "Oh shit, I'm alive." Yeah, you could tell. And apparently what happened is they had a test screening and the audience wanted her character to live because the audience, they're like, "No, we don't want characters to die because we don't want there to be stakes. We don't want there to be seriousness. We don't want there to be any sort of horror and, characters living and dying. Oh, she has to come back." And so they shot an extra shot where she just washes up on the beach and she wakes up and she's like, "Oh shit, I'm alive." She doesn't say that, but that's basically what she does. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty bad. And you know what else they say too? They say, "Fuck the 4th of July." That's the type of movie this is, guys. Fuck the 4th of July. And it's really weird, too, because, I guess the original took place during 4th of July, but there's no, 4th of July correlation to this movie. It's actually kind of funny. And I'll tell you guys this. I don't want to act like I'm just, trying to promote myself and trying to talk about what I do because, I'm so much better. I'm just trying to relate things that relate to this video. I am currently writing a Goosebumps fan series, and the first episode, the first story, it takes place during the 4th of July period. And I did it on purpose because it ties into the story. And in fact, it's interesting because the original book did not take place during 4th of July. But I was like, you know what? This would be absolutely perfect because I can do all of this satire and I can do all of this stuff to really make the story feel richer than it did originally. And the 4th of July thing, it's going to be so meaningful that it takes place during the 4th of July period. But this movie, there's no point. There's no 4th of July anything. There's barely any decorations, and there's no reason why it even needs to take place at the 4th of July at all. And they just say, "Fuck the 4th of July" at the very end. It's so random. Why? Like if this all happened on like Juneteenth, would they say fuck Juneteenth in a modern horror movie? I don't think so. If this all happened during Martin Luther King Day, this movie, would they have a moment at the end where they said fuck Martin Luther King Day? I don't think so. So why is it that they choose to have a moment where they say fuck the 4th of July? That's just something to think about, guys. Just something to think about. Not trying to make any accusations, but it is very apparent the types of people who made this movie and what their whole agenda is and their mindset. And so, in with that, the very last line of this movie is just the biggest insult, and it just hammers in how unlikable this token lesbian or bisexual final girl is. The very last line of the movie, even though there's a serial killer who is female, she is a serial killer in this movie. She kills multiple people with her father. The very last line of this movie is, and I quote, "It's pretty crazy how all this would have been avoided if men just went to therapy." Yeah. That is an actual line in a modern movie. And I can just tell, I've met people like this writer before. I've heard this shit before. Oh, you should just go to therapy. This is the type of shit, because it's like equating all of this tragedy, all of this stuff. What about these bitches? What about this final girl bitch who took part in killing someone and covering it up? And she's role-playing, and she's saying, punish me for doing what we did to that guy. Punish me. I want to be punished for doing that. What about that? Maybe she should just go to therapy. Why is her involvement in that completely irrelevant to this situation? Why is it only about the one male killer that they threw in at the end as a surprise second killer? I'll give you a hint, guys, because it's an agenda movie. It's a fucking anti-men agenda movie. That's all this fucking movie is. All of this would have been avoided if men just went to therapy. Wow, how fucking convenient. And I guess, it's supposed to be a joke. Is it really a joke? Is it really funny? That, that's what I'm saying, is that, you can't take this movie seriously at all, because you never know when they want you to take things seriously versus when they want to drop a line like this. This is the very last line of the movie. And we gotta make a joke about, Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character should have just gone to therapy. It's really? You think that would have solved all of his problems? Do you really think, and this is another thing too, this is just ignorance, naivete, dumb bitch syndrome. Do you really think that a serial killer could be cured by going to therapy? Do you really think that Ted Bundy would have stopped raping and killing women if he had just gone to therapy? No, I don't think so. And so, yeah, again, it's whenever you have a female villain in a modern movie, she always has to have some kind of a sympathetic excuse, and she always has to be written off as she had a legitimate reason, and the guy was the evil one. And so, again, the very last line, they're completely discounting that girl was the killer in the movie, and all they're doing is focusing on the guy, on Freddie Prinze Jr. And so, again, this movie, it is a sickening agenda movie. It was not enjoyable. It was like it was written by a woke Gen Z robot AI writer who can't write or direct. And the cast was terrible. The story was terrible. The kills were terrible. The kills were PG-13, barely rated R. There wasn't really any nudity in this movie. The only time that there was when the token lesbian final girl was talking about how she wants to role play and do like a kinky role play about how she needs to be punished for doing what she did at the beginning of the movie, proving that she deserves to get killed too in the movie. You know, like that's something that you'd think that like someone who gets killed in the movie would say. And I know that it's like, oh, why can't you get over that? It's because it's a big fucking deal. It's a big deal how she just made light of that horrible thing that happened at the beginning of the movie, and that sets off the entire story. So, yeah. Needless to say, I did not enjoy the movie. And I am very angry because I feel like every time I watch one of these bad movies, I need to go back. I need to watch like a palate cleanser movie. I need to watch like a movie from the early 2000s, a movie from the 50s, a movie from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe the 40s or 30s too, because those are even really good. Even better. I mean, Portrait of Jenny, A Star is Born, The Shop Around the Corner. I mean, those are fantastic movies. But then, you know what I realize? I realize that I don't have time to watch a palate cleanser because I have so much shit to do. And so I'm preparing for filming this week. I will be filming on Wednesday. And so I will be planning ahead of time. And yeah, that's why I probably should watch a palate cleanser of some kind, because I've got to get in like a good mindset for filming on Wednesday. Like, I cannot go into filming thinking about this terrible, terrible trash movie. I mean, this movie was so insulting. And it's like, again, like the final girl, like she was just so unlikable. And like, it was like they made her first off, they made her lesbian because it's like, oh, we got to have a different type of a person in this horror movie, because there's never really a lesbian character in these you know, franchise horror movies. But then for some reason she's bisexual, and but then she's like also like really hateful, and she's like making light of the guy that they killed at the beginning of the movie that she just doesn't care about at all. And then, you know, Jennifer Love Hewitt, she's hardly in the movie. You know, she's fine. I mean, she's really, really beautiful. And you can tell that she has aged really very nicely, like in a way where it's like, I'm glad that she, you know, has not like succumbed to the Hollywood bullshit. And I'm glad that, you know, she stayed healthy and that she's at a good place in her life, because it was nice to see her again. You know, I really like Jennifer Love Hewitt. I think she's kind of an underrated actress. I think she's really good. And, yeah. And then also you have a third final girl. She was boring as hell. She was kind of pretty. I mean, they were all kind of pretty, but, like, very, very boring, bland character, except for on the poster. But, like, other than that, horrible. I just don't know why movies have to be so bad. 2025 movies are so bad. They're just getting worse and worse. And the only thing that I can do as a movie reviewer is just sit there and watch the train wreck. Okay, anyway, so please like this video. Please like this video and comment, and I'm sure I'll get some comments on this video. And then please subscribe. And I know I was a little mean in this video, and you know, I am trying to be like nicer sometimes, but like I just hated this movie, and so I apologize for being a little bit mean. But I just can't stand these bad movies. And then please subscribe to our channel. if you'd like to see more honest movie reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.